Hello there everyone, welcome to the channel if you're new, and welcome back if you aren't. I'm EDJ, and in continuing with Napoleon month, I've decided, now that I've seen the Napoleonic, series from Epic History TV, now that I've seen the Marshals series, I'm going to do a tier list. Now, this isn't gonna be like, I need to preface this, please listen. This isn't based on actual merit. It isn't an analysis of all their careers and who I rank as terms of just in terms of skill and prowess as a military commander and as a marshal. It's not that. If you want to watch that, watch Epic History TV's Marshall series. This is completely biased. It's completely my opinion, and it's just kind of based only on how I feel about a certain marshal. For instance, well, we'll get to it. You'll see as we go along. But overall, this is just completely based on feeling, personal opinion, just how I feel about them after watching the main series by Epic History TV and the Marshall series by Epic History TV. With that said, like I said, completely been opinion-based, completely feelings-based. So obviously, yeah. Just to let you all know how this is gonna go. So with that said, let's get to it. This is, like I said, based on the feelings and emotions. And let's start with number 1, Davout. I will put Davout, that I love Davout, in this category simply because he is my favorite marshal. I was beyond impressed by him. It's amazing how I didn't know this dude existed until the Battle of Jena video. I was like, oh, Davout, who's this dude? And then he turned out to be really awesome. I think he's probably one of the best marshals in independent command, maybe the best. I think he kind of reminds me of Stannis Baratheon, which I have a liking to for any Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire fans. And yeah, I just think the dude is really cool. I think his accomplishments are great. And, like I said, him soloing essentially the entire Prussian army was just, really, well, the main bulk of it was just really awesome. I just really am a huge fan of Davout. I think, in my opinion, he is the best marshal, and I think he's really awesome, and I really wish he'd been around to, do more. I wish he had been in Leipzig or Waterloo. I know he was held up with other responsibilities, but I overall really like Davout, and I put him at the top at my love category because I'm just a huge fan of the dude, and he is my favorite marshal. Next is Suchet, I believe, and I'm also gonna put him in love. I really love Suchet because I think the way he handled the Spanish situation, he may have been the marshal that handled it the best. And, basically, I think his conduct in Spain really showed that he understood the assignment, and maybe he should have been given more to do, in my opinion. I guess my only sad thing about it is that he wasn't present more in other situations. I wish he had done even more, but I don't know, I was beyond impressed by him, and I kind of dubbed him the MVP of Spain, because I think the dude just nailed it there. I think he just, I think he was the best marshal in the Spanish campaign, and I was really impressed because I believe his regions, during that war, basically were the more peaceful, overall, I just think, he adapted really well to a situation that even great marshals such as Masséna and others were really struggling with. So, yeah, overall, Suchet, in my book, I really love the dude, and I really wish he had just done more, which ain't such a bad critique. It's not really a critique, it's just more of a wishful thing. I wish he had done more. If only the other marshals had taken notes from him, it may have gone better. I don't know if it would have been a win, but it would have gone better. Okay, next is Berthier. I think I've always been pronouncing this man's name wrong, but I'm gonna put him in love. I think I didn't know much about him, and from watching the main series of Epic History TV, I didn't really get much an impression of him, but I've done personal research about him and his administration work, and also looking at, you know, the Marshall series. I really love this dude. I think he's genius, and I think it shows just the power of the, I believe he was the chief of staff, you know, his administrative genius was really like, it goes to show you, like, you know, in war, sometimes I feel like we just focus on just the battles, and, you know, that's important and all, but, like, his ability to manage an army, organization, you know, read Napoleon's writings and turn them into, like, you know, orders, and overall, I think the dude was just a master of organization, an administrative genius. I think he might just be one of the more intelligent marshals, and you know, obviously in terms of field command, that wasn't where he's shown. He's more of the behind the scenes guy, but I feel like he really is so important and like basically irreplaceable. Like when he didn't join back up with Napoleon during the Waterloo era, it really showed just like how important of a man he was. Like he really is an underrated, but upon learning about him, just a great marshal whose role is unique, whose contributions are not sung enough praises. Like the man is the mega mind, you know? And it goes to show you just I just think, yeah, he's very underrated. I think all these marshals are underrated, because I can only speak from my perspective as someone who is by no means a historian. Yeah, we don't really hear anything about these marshals in day-to-day, you know, history classes and whatnot, you know, here in the United States, of course. So learning about these men and just, like, yeah, it's been really fun. And so, Berthier, I'm putting you in love, because I just think you're great. And I'm really sad how he died. He just fell off, like, apparently he had lost, the monarchy had lost faith with him. He wouldn't go back to Napoleon, and just, like, I think he met a very tragic and unfortunate end, and I'm really sad that that's how it happened to him. Next is Lannes. So Lannes has grown on me. I'm gonna put him in love. You know, at first I didn't fully see the hype with Lannes. A lot of people talked about him, you know, the top 5. I'll admit, at first I didn't see the hype, guys. You know, when we were watching the main series of the you know, Napoleonic Wars from Epic History TV, he was always there, but I didn't feel like he had a moment per se. You know, like a Davout had the Battle of Jena, Masséna had a lot of moments in Italy, you know, like everyone had a moment. I didn't feel like, even to now, I don't remember specifically Lannes having a big moment, but upon further rumination and reviewing, I realized how, like, kind of, like, important he was. He was like a steady presence all throughout the Napoleonic Wars until his unfortunate end. And I came to, you know, upon personal research and really focusing, I just think the dude was so important to the army. And, you know, his personal relationship with Napoleon is also super interesting. And, you know, I dubbed him originally just Napoleon's friend, but I feel like how would I put this? I'm trying to find an eloquent way of putting this. I think that he is like almost, he's almost like, I wouldn't call him the heart of the army or the soul, like, but he's pretty close to that. Like, I think he was really important. I don't think the Grand Armée was ever the same once Lannes was gone. I think he was just a very competent, very great person. I think he had a lot of, you know, like, he had a lot of qualities similar to someone like Ney and whatnot, but he seemed to, like, embody a lot of the aspects of the other marshals. Like, yeah, he could be hot-headed or tempered, but he was very competent, very, you know, he had a real knack for the, you know, battles and whatnot, and I can't remember him making any big serious blunders at the moment. I just think he's really important, and I think he really was, I almost want to call him the heart or like the soul of the Grand Army, but that's a pretty big statement to make, so I'm gonna refrain from fully committing to that. But overall, I think he's very important, and I really love the dude. Speaking of people I love, this is Masséna, who I just adore. Masséna was the first marshal of the series. When we began this series back, in the Italian campaign videos, Masséna's the one who caught my eye right off the bat. Like, his performance in Italy. Wait, did I say Spain? I meant Italy. I'm so sorry. The Italian campaign. I think that he impressed me a lot. I call him still the MVP of Italy, but yeah, just like his performance in Italy was amazing. And upon further research, how he stopped invasions and his other exploits that Epic History TV didn't go in full depth to. The dude's a beast, especially in his prime. Masséna was a beast, man. He is, I think, worthy of a top 5 spot of marshals. I think that Masséna is just amazing. I think he's gifted, and obviously not everyone stays at the top or their peak of their game forever. And Masséna did, kind of falter a little, especially as he got older. But I don't really fully. I feel like Napoleon was very harsh on Masséna, especially on the Spanish War. I think Napoleon really mistreated him, and the man was past his prime, arguably should have been retired, or at the very least given a different position, maybe an easier one around Paris. But instead, Napoleon basically forced him to go to Spain, and then basically, he was disgraced because of the Spanish situation, which I don't hold it against any marshal personally if they didn't do the best at Spain, because Spain was a situation not even the best, that even the best struggled with. And that case in point, Masséna and, even Soult did. And it's just like, I feel like he didn't deserve the disgrace he got. I didn't think he deserved, kind of like, it came across like everyone was just hating on the dude during Spain. Ney was basically cursing him out. Napoleon's like, oh, you're not Masséna, what the heck? I'm like, me personally, I feel bad for Masséna. I don't think he deserved that treatment, especially when his glorious career before in the Italian campaign and his exploits outside. The man is just a beast, and he shouldn't have been treated as bad as he did. I feel really bad for this man. Napoleon kind of did him dirty near the end, in my opinion. And, I think his achievements are so glorious that not even the Spanish situation could ever fully bury them, in my opinion. So this is, Prince, the Polish Prince, Poniatowski? Yeah, so I like this dude. I think he's a very interesting character among the marshals. He's Polish. I really like, essentially Poland has kind of been, eradicated off the map from the other powers. I think the dude was really loyal. I really like him. I think he has in my opinion, probably the most interesting of the marshals. Like I mentioned, if I had to make a movie about someone, probably be about this dude, and he fought essentially for Napoleon, because I believe the Polish kind of wanted to come back, and Napoleon was most likely their best chance. I think he was really loyal. He was just a real one, dude, to the end. And it's sad that he died due to drowning at Leipzig and, all that. But I think he was a really cool dude. I'm putting him in like. I really like the dude. And, yeah. Next is Marshal Ney, who I will also put in the like category. So, Ney's probably the marshal I knew the most about, which isn't saying much, but before we watched Epic History TV series. And, like I said, sadly the most infamous moment, most well-known moment of Ney's career is, I would say personally, just because this is what I just only knew him for, as his performance in Waterloo, specifically the cavalry charge, which didn't go well, as you all know. And, upon further research, apparently some people blame Ney's unhinged conduct during the Waterloo 100 Days era because of PTSD, and I don't know, I just feel like the man is so awesome. I think my favorite Ney moment of the entire series is the Russian campaign, where he really showed what he's made of. He essentially fought through the Russian army to get to Napoleon, and I think that's just the most ballsy thing and the most coolest thing, like, one of the coolest moments of any Marshal, and I think Ney is worthy of the title Bravest of the Brave, and yeah, I feel like his accomplishments, unfortunately, are, you know, kind of not as well known as his blunders. But, you know, he really reminds me of like a dude who's just really fearless, you know, and yeah, I just think he's a really interesting character. So overall, I would put him in the like category. McDonald. Now, Marshal McDonald, about his performance as a marshal, I don't think it was bad. I wouldn't call anyone bad here per se, but yeah, this is just how I feel. I feel like he's okay. You know what I really respect about him is that he seems like a real one, and what I mean by that is that he's the kind of guy who would just tell it as it is, and, you know, even if it hurts your feelings, I feel like I respect him for mainly that. That's kind of really what I remember him for, even after watching the series and all that. Like, he was just a very honest man of integrity. Yeah, I would describe him as full of integrity, very honest, very straightforward, very real, and not afraid to tell it as it is. And I think even Napoleon recognized that at the end. So, yeah, I respect that, though I don't know. A part of me, because of that, wants to put him in the like category, but I also kind of, but I also don't know. I'm gonna put him in like, well, so if I could just create another category, just imagine McDonald is kind of fluctuating between okay and like, alright? I'll leave him in okay, but just imagine he's fluctuating. That's how I feel at the moment, you know? So, Oudinot, right? Or, wait, let me learn how to pronounce this properly. Okay, so upon looking back at Epic History TV's video, he pronounces it as Oudinot. So I'm gonna say Oudinot from now on. I like this dude. I like the cut of his gif, as I think the saying goes. What I really like about him is that the dude is, like, I consider him the toughest marshal, because he got injured a lot. It is a miracle that he lived to be as old as he did. But the dude, like, when I think about him, I think about, like, Monty Python and, like, the Black Knight who got his arms ripped off, and it's like, huh, tis but a scratch. Like, the dude is tough as nails, beyond durable, and my favorite moment of his is when he, like, got injured during the Russian retreat, but when the Cossacks showed up, he was in his bed, recovering, but he was like, nah, screw that. He grabs his pistols and starts firing at them. Like, are you kidding me? This dude's awesome. This dude's up there, right up there. I like this dude a lot. I think he's cool. And I think he's awesome. You know, I would dub him the toughest marshal just from the amount of injuries he sustained, you know, and just got back up from. So yeah, I'm putting him in a very comfy position in my like category. So next is Augereau. You know, originally I felt a lot of sympathy for Augereau because of the Battle of Eylau, where essentially him and Seven Corps got mauled by everyone because they marched, you know, through the blizzard and obviously got lost course, and then it's just like, I was like, that poor dude, and for the longest time, I had nothing but sympathy for him, and originally I would have put him in the okay category, but after watching the Marshals series, what really stuck with me is his kind of two-faced nature. Like, what I mean by that is, like, you know, he seemed like, obviously a lot of these marshals, when Napoleon rose, were a bit iffy about this, but, you know, I think what really struck with me is when he was like, you know, when once Napoleon was gone, he was just like trash talking, like, oh, Napoleon, it's all his fault. He killed so many people because of his ambition. And then when Napoleon came back, he tried to like be good with Napoleon. He just, I don't know, he struck me as really two-faced, and I don't really like that, like that two-faced behavior. So my feelings have kind of gone to dislike personally. Like, I don't know, I don't really like the dude, personally. So he will be the first dislike of the video. Oh boy, so, Murat. What can I say about this guy? I think Murat is so cool. In my opinion, Murat is the best cavalryman, and I know that's debatable, but I think in cavalry, the man is like without peer. Personally, that's just an opinion, and you know, I think there's so much to like about him. He has the loudest like character. What I mean by that is like he's flamboyant, he's brave, he's, you know, dashing, he's got great fashion sense. He's like a living cartoon anime character brought to life. You know, he is, in my opinion, the best cavalryman. There's so much I love about this man. And, you know, I think his performances, like, in the Battle of Eylau, and his epic cavalry charges are just without peer. And under normal circumstances, I would have put him in love. But my feelings have changed, unfortunately. Mainly because when we watched the videos, I kind of didn't like when he tried betraying Napoleon. I think, like, you know, I will give it to a Bernadotte. Bernadotte was real. Bernadotte was like, well, Napoleon, now that I'm, you know, a sovereign of, you know, Sweden, I'm not going to promise you I'm not going to declare war. And, you know, Bernadotte was real. Murat, I don't think was real, guys. I'm sorry, like, you know, this won't be a very unpopular opinion, because I know Murat is beloved, but I just think when he was trying to, like, he was, hey, Napoleon, I'm gonna go to Italy and try, you know, rally more troops and, you know, like, all that. But then he would go and try to talk to the coalition, hey, let me join you. And then he started trash-talking Napoleon, like, oh, you know, I only served Napoleon when I thought it would be peace, but obviously all he wants is war. Like, I don't know, it's just that two-faced nature I didn't like. It was really smarmy, very snake-like, and I just didn't respect that. Like, he soured on me because of that. But even then, all the qualities I mentioned before that I liked about him haven't gone, but I still didn't like what he tried to do. Because of that, I cannot bring myself to put him in the like or love category, but I cannot bring myself to put him in the dislike or even Bernadotte trash level. So, we'll get to Bernadotte. I'm gonna put him in okay. I'm just gonna put him in okay. He fell off. He fell off from an automatic love to just okay, because I couldn't bring myself to put him in dislike. Oh, Bernadotte. I wish... This isn't an easy decision, guys. I'm not gonna lie. This one's with a heavy heart. But... yeah, I'm just gonna leave him in okay. Personally. Next is Bessières. Wait. Yeah, I feel like I feel a bit... like, he's in the same level as McDonald. He's kind of fluctuates between like and okay for me. Like, how I feel about him. You know, he was basically in charge of, like, the guard cavalry for a while. And overall, yeah, seemed like just a pretty competent, okay dude. Like, I don't remember much strongly about him. I feel like my feelings overall are just, he's okay, you know? Though, like I said, a bit of it is fluctuating between like and okay, so I'm gonna leave him here. But, yeah, just imagine it's fluctuating, please. So next is Brune, who I'll put in the man okay category. Like, obviously throughout the main series, he wasn't really mentioned or alluded to at all. But, you know, like I said, upon the Marshall series, you know, he was there during the Italian campaign and, you know, helped Napoleon disperse the mob. And I think his biggest achievement, at least from looking at those videos, the Marshall series, was essentially just saving, you know, France from invasion in the battle against the British, I think it was. Either way, like, yeah, you know, man, okay. Like, that's how I feel about Brune, personally. And next is Grouchy. Grouchy? So I'm gonna put him in okay too. I think this dude doesn't deserve hate, personally, because, you know, some people would be like, oh, Grouchy, it's his fault Napoleon lost Waterloo. If only he had, you know, dealt with the Prussians or showed up, like, he was just following orders, guys. Which is funny, because, you know, like, from what I've known about the military, it encourages listening to your superiors, following orders, right? That's the big thing about the military, and apparently Napoleon would get, like, pretty upset if one did not follow his orders. So yeah, Grouchy, I feel like he doesn't deserve hate because he decided to stick with what exactly Napoleon wanted, which he was just doing what I think most military would agree is the right thing. You know, he was just following his orders, and I don't think he deserves hate or the blame of, oh, Napoleon lost. I believe the 1815 campaign was already a loss. I don't think Napoleon was actually going to win, even if he had won Waterloo. So, you know, overall, I still think he was fighting a losing battle, in my opinion. And Grouchy doesn't deserve to be remembered, you know, for that, I think. I mean, that he is remembered for, you know, not supporting Napoleon during Waterloo, but at the end of the day, he was just following orders. Can't hate, I don't see why he deserves hate for that, personally. So next is Bernadotte trashed. So next is, I'm just joking, by the way. By the way, I'm finally happy we finally got to this point, because I will admit, guys, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, I know I've kind of done the whole, oh, Bernadotte sucked, I hate Bernadotte, the entire series. And it's kind of been fun seeing people legitimately get upset over that. Oh man, I probably should stop trolling. But in all actuality, let me drop the joke for a minute. Let me be real with all of you. My feelings towards Bernadotte when I first came into this series were negative, you know? I'll be real with you on that. I didn't really like the dude, but upon looking at the series, you know, it definitely opened my eyes. And, you know, any ideas like Bernadotte being a traitor, obviously untrue. Bernadotte, I respect him because he was real with Napoleon in saying that he's not... I think Napoleon wanted him to say, don't declare war on France ever, but Bernadotte was basically told him straight up, I'm gonna do the best interest of, you know, Sweden. And, you know, I respect that. Unlike a Murat, you know, Bernadotte, I feel like, was real, and I feel like all his mistakes are very justifiable. Like, you know, not supporting Davout, from what I've come to learn, it's just because he was following orders. He was giving confusing orders, so can't blame Bernadotte for that. Like, I can't really think of any reason to genuinely dislike Bernadotte. In fact, I kind of think he's the luckiest Marshal, in my opinion. I think if I had to give him a nickname, it would be the luckiest Marshal, because the dude is lucky. Like, I would say the luckiest, because not only did he raised to such a high position as a Marshal, but he got away with, like, upsetting and triggering a lot of people from Davout and Napoleon without anything really bad happening to him. He just happens to be chosen to become a monarch, a very legitimate monarch. He wasn't just put there because Napoleon put him there, like with a lot of other people. He was, to my knowledge, chosen. And you know, like very legitimate. And not only did he join the winning side with the coalition, but he got to keep his throne, and he got to, you know, essentially rule Sweden and become, you know, create a lasting dynasty that is still going on today. You know, Bernadotte won, in my opinion. The Napoleonic Wars, Bernadotte won in life. He won even over Napoleon. And realistically, my feelings towards Bernadotte are okay. But I'm still gonna keep up the joke and put him in trash. Just so you know. From now on, if you hear me dissing on Bernadotte, it's more out of a joke. Not actually because I dislike the dude. He's an okay. In my actual, outside of joking. But to keep out the joke, trash. So, next is Marmont. You know, unfortunately with Marmont, I mainly know him for his L's, guys. Like, when watching this series originally, I was like, this dude loses a lot. Like, he was, you know, I remember when he fought the Duke of Wellington in that battle, that Spanish battle, I forgot exactly the battle's name at the moment. But I remember him being taken out right away, getting owned and thrashed by the Duke of Wellington, and mainly for being one of the first to surrender at, you know, like, I think he was the first marshal to surrender, before Napoleon abdicated. And, you know, I disliked him because of those qualities, like too many yells, surrendering, forcing his soldiers who probably wanted to keep fighting to surrender. But upon, like, further thought, I kind of feel bad for the dude. Like, you know, I was thinking of the Napoleonic, when watching the Marshals series, like, Napoleon really kind of was a jerk to Marmont, I think. Like, the biggest slap in the face I remember is when he became a marshal out of friendship, apparently, and then Napoleon was all like, you know, between you and I, you haven't done anything to deserve this. Like, essentially, we know Napoleon has committed nepotism, but to ruin something like that, like a moment like that, you know, like, the marshal was I guess the highest position in the military a man could raise to, and Napoleon kind of, like, gave him, like, you know, essentially, like, a really backhanded accomplishment, a backhanded compliment, like, with the whole thing, kind of ruined it. I felt bad, and then Marmont got, like, you know, sidelined a lot, probably wanted to do more, but felt like he wasn't, and, you know, I just think, like, I feel a lot of sympathy towards him, personally, and, yeah, I understand where the resentment, where the disillusionment with Napoleon kind of came from, and also, by the time he helped surrender Paris, I can't even hate him fully, because by that point Napoleon had lost. Like, sure, he was still racking up victories, you know, during the 6 Days campaign, but, like, it really was a lost battle. So I don't blame him for kind of wanting to end it right away. Maybe he saw the situation. And I know it's debated, his motives. Like, some would say out of resentment to Napoleon. Others would be like, he just saw the situation and did probably the best, and of just surrendering and letting it be done. Because of these, I don't fully dislike him like I once did. I feel like I would put him in just meh. I feel like that's where my feelings have gone for Marmont, personally. So next is Soult, who... Yeah, a lot of people say Soult is one of the best marshals. Like, a lot of people, you know, reading the comments would put him, like, top 5 and whatnot. I mean, no disrespect. It's just, I don't personally see it. I would probably have to rewatch the series, really get into it, but, like, I don't know. I would put other people above Soult, in my opinion. I know that's not a popular one, but, like, I mainly only remember Soult for being very greedy with his looting. Like, that was like one of the biggest factors Epic History put out. And having really mixed success in Spain. Like, you know, like, yeah, he won some battles, but then he lost, and overall, I feel like my feelings are pretty meh towards Soult. I don't feel particularly strong about him negatively, but not positively either. I just put him in okay, personally. Saint-Cyr, I'm also gonna put in okay. Like, seems like Saint-Cyr didn't fully, I guess you could say reach his heights, because a lot of the time, I guess because of his differing political views, kind of rubbed Napoleon the wrong way. And yeah, like a lot of people, when looking at comments and forums, say Saint-Cyr was wasted potential, or that he could have done more, but unfortunately, you know, issues, I guess, from like differing opinions and feelings kind of limited him to Napoleon and his rise. So maybe, yeah, who knows what he could have done if given more, but overall, I just feel meh about it. Yeah, like, kind of what... Sorry, I kind of paused these videos just kind of to jump back to the Napoleon Marshals series from Epic History TV, just to kind of refresh my brain a little. So yeah, Saint-Cyr. I think Epic History TV put it best. A great what if. You know, someone who, I guess you could say, wasn't used to his best, and who maybe could have been more, but as far as what we got, I just feel kind of like meh about him. Like, nothing overwhelmingly positive or negative. I like his name though, Saint-Cyr. I think he has the coolest name. So that's points with me. Next is Kellerman, who I just mainly know for being the oldest marshal. He's the old marshal. Yeah, I feel okay about him. Yeah, like, you know, a lot of his accomplishments were mainly before as a marshal, but from what we see, he seems like a really cool old dude. So I'm gonna keep Kellerman. I'm gonna keep Kellerman here in the okay category. I feel okay about him, you know. So next is Marshal Jourdan, I just call Jordan. You know, about this dude, I feel kind of bad for him, his situation in Spain. I believe he had he was given a lot of authority by Napoleon, and a lot of the other marshals weren't really cooperating with him. You know, he was sick, and I feel like he tried his best to really hold the situation down in Spain, but there were a lot of things, you know, like uncooperative fellow marshals, you know, personal injuries and sicknesses that got to him, and you know, I feel like he got a really bad situation, but he did still try to really you know, handle it. I don't know. I feel like I'll put him in this category, though a lot like with Bessières and McDonald, he could fluctuate between both, like the like and okay category. Like, just imagine that there's a center one between like and okay. Wait, let me see if I can add one. Okay, so I just made the tweener category because, like I said, these guys are kind of fluctuating. McDonald, Bessières, and Jourdan. Like I said, they could go in between like and okay. Like I said, my opinions are going back and forth, my feelings. So we'll say they're in the middle because they could go either one for me. So yeah. Okay, so this is supposed to be Lefebvre. I could never pronounce his name properly, but you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm putting him in like. Also, while I'm at it, I feel like my feelings have settled more on Bessières. I'm also going to put him in like permanently. He's not fluctuating anymore. But, okay, but back to Lefebvre, you know. I really like him. You know what? He seems like he's just a cool dude overall, and I kind of like he had a distinguished military career before he was made a marshal. Napoleon's like, well, he might want to, you know, retire or like take it easy, but he was like, nah, Napoleon, I'm gonna keep leading. I think what the moment I really love from him is during the Russian campaign, where he chose to endure the hardships of his men, but he walked with them. I believe it was the Old Guard. Either way, like, I have a lot of respect for leaders when they choose to lower. They could easily hold themselves up to a higher status, you know, but I like he kind of chose to be with his men, suffer alongside them. Just seemed like a really cool dude. I think he also has the funniest line, let's throw the lawyers in the river, or something. I think it was him. I could be wrong, but yeah, either way, hilarious. And yeah, I'm keeping him in the like category. So next is Monse, who I like Monse, and the reason I like him is because, yeah, I think his biggest moment of the series was defending Paris, but I also really like his honesty. Like, I believe Napoleon described him as an honest man, and he had honor and integrity. Like, I think why I put him in the like category is because of his, you know, refusal to I think his refusal to, like, judge Marshal Ney and partake in that, you know, killing him, I think earned him some respect to me, and overall just comes across as just a man of integrity, which I really like, so I'm just gonna leave him in like. So next is Montier, who, you know, was overall, like most of the marshals, very competent, and I think what I remember most about him is that he was pretty likable, a pretty likable dude, who, I think what's the most telling is that he didn't engage in much of the feuds or petty rivalries between the marshals, and was overall well-liked man. I'm gonna put him in okay. I feel okay about him, you know? So next is Perignon? Perignon? I feel like it's okay. You know, one of the honorary marshals. I don't really have much of a strong feeling towards him. He's kind of like a meh, I guess. You know, mainly I just remember him not wanting to join back with Napoleon, when he came back, which, you know, what's a big thing with the marshals, so there's that. And next is Serurier. He also goes in this category. You know, another honorary marshal. You know, I think what I remember most about him is not wanting his nickname, the Virgin of Italy, because of his anti-looting thing. So he seemed alright. Overall, not many strong opinions about these two personally. So next is dang it, Victor. Yeah, it's Victor. Thank goodness I can pause this. But so yeah, Marshal Victor, who I feel like definitely was overall a pretty constant presence throughout the series. Pretty, you know, there. He took some L's in Spain, but again, that's understandable. Most of Napoleon's marshals took L's in Spain. Outside of Spain, he was pretty good, you know, alright. I didn't like that he voted for Ney to die, but, you know, I'm just gonna put him in okay. So yeah, most of the marshals ended up in, like, the man okay category. Only one I didn't really like, and yeah, overall, this is kind of my list. Again, I want to reiterate that this list is just based on how I feel about what I think about a marshal, and obviously feelings and stuff change. But this is overall how I kind of feel about all of them, and this is how I rated them. So yeah, guys, that's really all I have to say. If you know, enjoyed this video, I hope you did, and yeah, I'll see you all in the future. Bye, everyone.